dear learners, I'm Christina Georgy and I welcome you to my session. Today we'll deal with The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne once again. So remember, this is gonna be part 2, a continuation of what we did in part 1. If you haven't watched part 1, please find the link in the description. So let's have a look at the major focus areas of part 1. There we discussed an introduction to Scarlet Letter, the life and works of Nathaniel Hawthorne, then the Puritan background, the setting of the novel, the custom house, and finally we dealt with a very brief summary of the novel. So in part 2, we'll be dealing with the analysis part. Firstly, the characters and characterization, the structure and narrative style, theme, symbols, and critical perspectives. So let's move on to the central characters of the novel. Hester represents heart, the seat of emotions, whereas Chillingworth represents science. He is mainly governed by his mind. He also displays the nature of evil in him. So moving on to Dimmesdale, the man of religion. He represents the soul. If Hester represents the heart, it's Dimmesdale who represents the soul. So finally, Pearl, who represents nature. Moving on to the structure and the narrative style of the novel. The Scarlet Letter is a meticulously constructed novel with a neat organization. The chapters 2, 12 and 23, in which some characters mount the scaffold, mark the turning points in the story. The novel has a total number of 24 chapters. Still, it could be divided into 4 parts. In the first part, the community and the 4 central characters are the active agents. In the second, it is Chillingworth. In the third, it is Hester. And finally, in the fourth, it's Dimmesdale. The 24 chapters mark the rise and fall in the fortunes of the main characters. The custom house introduces the narrator and the main story. Surveyor Poe's manuscript and the personalized narrator, with his conventional tone, moderate the relationship between the story and the reader. Let's have a quick look at the themes of the novel. The Scarlet Letter deals with the theme of sin and retribution in a Puritan context. Hawthorne regards adultery as an act of moral transgression. The other prominent themes include guilt, revenge, redemption, empathy, identity and society, etc. So what's important here are the symbols. So the major symbols include, of course, the Scarlet Letter A. In the beginning, it represents the sin and adultery committed by Hester, but as time progresses, the meaning of the letter A changes from adultery to able. Next, we have the scaffold. The scaffold is mentioned 3 times in the novel. It can be used as a separating block that divides the book into the beginning, middle, and the end. It also symbolizes shame, revelation of sin, and guilt. Then we have Pearl herself, the embodiment of her parents' sin and passion. She is a constant reminder of the sin from which Hester cannot ever escape. There is this meteor shaped as an A that serves as a notable symbol in the novel. It acts as a sign from God and is also perceived to be a symbol for angel. We also have different colors that have symbolic association in the text. Light represents joy, goodness, and truth, whereas darkness stands for evil and falsehood. So moving on to the critical perspectives, the Scarlet Letter has elements of both a novel and a romance. Remember, the novel has a subtitle as well. The full title of the Scarlet Letter is The Scarlet Letter, a Romance. So, Hawthorne has used a historical setting mostly as a backdrop to analyze the minds of the central characters. Hence, the novel can also be considered as a historical fiction as well. There are elements of feminist viewpoint, and these are visible in the presentation of the predicament of Hester. In short, Hawthorne was concerned not with adultery per se, but with its consequences. So that was the Scarlet Letter in simple digestible bits. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your opinions in the comment box. For more such useful topics, please do subscribe the channel. Thank you for watching.